First part of the upper body flexibility. You can use a bar, a top of a chair, hands resting on a banister, whatever works. Okay? So, start with, really important, is the shoulder press. You're going to push your tailbone back, push your chest down to the floor, lengthen the upper body, and kind of press down. Have your head just neutral. I usually do maybe 30 of those and maybe 3 sets. So shake off, repeat. You can do it at different heights, but find the important thing is that you're not overarching from your lumbar spine. Keep your belly button pulled upwards. Protect your lower back. The stretch should be coming from the shoulders and the thoracic spine. And gradually press your chest down more. Okay, now we're going to do a chest stretch. You can use a doorway or something like that. Put your hand here, and you want to make sure you're stretching here. Don't let the shoulder rotate or lift up. Keep this down. Strongly feel the stretch in the chest. Okay, same thing on the other side. Keep your shoulder down. It's easy to rotate or lift your shoulder up and think you're getting a good chest stretch. You need to keep this down, away from your ear. Target the stretch properly. Okay, now we're going to do one for the shoulders the other way. This is called shoulder extension. That's the ability to bring the arms up behind the back. So for that one, grab hold of a bar, this time with your palms down, your body facing the opposite direction. And it's really important that you have your hands as close together as you can. If you're really flexible, you want to have your fingers touching on this one. Okay, so as close as you can. And then from there, it's imperative that you actually lock your elbows completely straight. If your elbows are bent, you need to take a lower bar. You may feel a stretch in the bicep, but you mainly want to be feeling this eventually in the shoulders. Once the bicep's flexible enough, the shoulder is the limit. And then by pushing my hips forwards, I increase the stretch. And as you can see, I'm not particularly flexible in this direction, so it's something I have to work on. By pushing my hips away, I increase the angle between my arms and my back. Okay, and now we'll do another one, which is a bridge rotation. So for this one, when I turn around, the important thing is that I push my chest upwards to the ceiling. So from here, I'm going to start facing away. I'm going to bring my hand back, lift my chest up, reach my other hand back, and make a circle. And then I go back the way I came. Back this way, and back. And then as you get more flexible, you can go lower. As I reach back, I'm also thinking about pushing up. My hips are stretching, my abs are stretching. Now again, to some of you this will be trivially easy, and I have some students can walk their hands all the way down the bars into a full back bridge. So if you can do that, excellent. Practice that every day, or at least a few times a week until you can do it. When you can do it easily, you just need to do it once a week, just so you don't lose it. So that would be an example. You'll do the movement, and then gradually walk your way down, and back up, and gradually getting lower as you get more flexible. Okay. So doing that exercise without the bars, in China this exercise is called Fanu, which means turning the waist over. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. As I step through, so watch what I'm going to do first. If you're mirroring me, this will be your right foot stepping to your right, hands come over, then you spin the arms. Now as I spin, my head looks up and my chest lifts up. And I come all the way through. Then I come back again. Okay? Often in China they just train that on one side, but I like to do it forwards and back for health, to make sure you're equally flexible on both sides. Okay? So, first idea, you step behind like your top bow, yeah? Hands come over the top. But now when you do this, you're going to need to do it faster because you use a kind of momentum all the way through. So, step behind, the hands wheel. So the idea is that the arm should make like a cartwheel, should be vertical. If you draw a line, it should go along the floor, up the wall, and then from here, lift the chest, over the top, all the way through. So it's a dynamic stretch. It's going to be a fast movement. So step through, and you're more flexible than me. You should be able to look down. Now, I say look down, no, your head is up, and you're looking down as in further down the wall behind you. You get more flexible and you can open more. So this one's challenging for me, but I'm sharing it with you. I'm sure some of you guys can do it better. So through, whip, back, through, and then really whip across and back. Okay? Next one I'm going to do is, again for the shoulders, I'm going to use a stick for this exercise. If you're flexible, you can use a short stick. Okay, but I'm going to use a long stick. Now, the idea of this one, this is the shoulder dislocation exercise. The idea of this one is you're gripping the bar, and imagine you're kind of squeezing it and ripping it and twisting it. So you're going to keep your elbows absolutely straight. Lock them out. Drop the shoulders. And also you're going to, because it's very easy to do this one with a anterior tilt, so you're also at the same time going to tuck your hips under, so making sure the stretch comes from the shoulders. Okay, so tucking the hips under, start it with it in front, and the idea is to bring it all the way behind, and then bring it all the way back. All the way behind, all the way back. And guess what? You make your hands go closer, so it becomes more of a stretch. You'll reach a point where it's starting to be quite unpleasant. And gradually you get closer and closer, so you get more flexible. Okay, so what I suggest is the Fanu exercise, waist turning, 3 sets of 10. And then the same thing with this, 3 sets of 10. Good idea as well to put a little mark. You can use a tape or a pen so you know where your hands are, so you can gauge your progress. You should be progressively, the hands become narrower. Okay, so that's the next exercise. Now we're going to do some arm swinging exercises, dynamic flexibility. Obviously really important for Hapkun because, all of our punches follow these kind of trajectories and we want as much dynamic flexibility as we can. And so we'll start with a simple shoulder circle. So the first one that you want to practice probably most times you train. Now different people have different ideas about this. I was always taught keep the hands open because you want to get the blood going to the tips of the fingers and your hand will feel heavy and full of blood and it almost feels like it's going to pop. So some people say, right, keep the hand closed, but it will become conditioned, the blood vessels, and it become heavy. So you'll literally feel like your hand is heavy when you punch. And then, of course, that doesn't mean when you get in a real fight, you have to swing your arm. I've seen people do this first before they punch, kind of like Popeye or something like that. And the idea is you're prepping the nervous system, you're bringing all the chi and blood into the hand, you feel like it's something really solid, you have a weapon and then boom, you hit with it, okay? But of course, not practical. So what you want to do though, do it for exercise and then try and catch the feeling of it. So then when you're punching, you've got the muscle memory of what that feels like when all that energy goes into your hand, and you can replicate it at will without having to do all the arm turning first, okay? But do the arm turning as an exercise for shoulder mobility and for speed, because the more you can relax your shoulders, the faster your hands are going to move, okay? So let's start with the basic one. And gongbo, fingers straight. I usually do about 30. And you can see different color of the two hands, okay? Other direction. Okay. And I had a dear friend that learned this exercise on a Qigong course as an exercise for expelling pathogenic energy from the hands. Useful for people that do healing, like acupuncture or massage or whatever. However, she wasn't taught to warm up properly before doing it, and did it cold and got an injury and a frozen shoulder. So please bear in mind, do your warm-ups, do your fundamentals first. When you're sweating a little bit and you're nice and loose, you've done those stretches, then you can do something a little bit more fast-paced like that, but don't go straight into it cold, okay? So, we're going to do an exercise now. The technique is called Saimin Pao Choi. So, when the hand comes from behind the back, this is Jiugeng Pao Choi. Jiugeng Pao Choi. Mirror. Jiugeng means looking in a mirror. Right? When it comes from the other side, it's called Saimin Pao Choi. Saimin means washing the face, like a cat washing its face. So the action is like this. Comes up, washes the face, comes back. First is hitting with these knuckles. Second is hitting with these knuckles. So look, make sure, palm up this one, palm down this one. This is in the Hapgar specifically. For shoulder exercise, no problem. You can just do it with your fingers straight. I'm just telling you so you can prepare for the Suluhorn, because this is as a fighting technique, okay? But as a health exercise, no problem. Keep the hands open, it's fine. So what's the idea? That you're going upwards on this side, downwards on this side, see it? Okay, so if it starts behind the back, it comes up, it does a big circle, and it hits again. Okay, if it starts behind the back, for the exercise, we're going to bring it all the way over, all the way up, all the way over, all that. So it's like a figure of 8, do you see it? Saimin Pao Choi, Pao Choi, Saimin Pao Choi, Pao Choi. Now you want to concentrate on the waist. I'm putting my hand here so you can see my waist. It's the waist that's moving the arm. The arm is trying to stay relaxed as you can. So here's some tips. First, learn it with the hand open, relaxed. Then later, when you make a fist, don't make it too tight because you'll tighten your shoulder. That's the first tip. Second tip is, make sure the motive force is the waist turning, not the shoulder. The shoulder should be kept relaxed so the arm can just move freely in the socket, ball and socket. Okay? So the third tip is to make sure the movement, I'm going to do it facing this way so you can see, is in a vertical plane. So, look, palm up, palm down, palm up, palm down. This is, I'm going to do it wrong, so easy for you to see. This is diagonal, this is coming across here, this is coming in a diagonal plane of motion. Wrong. There are techniques that do that, not this one. This one, keep it strict, keep it straight up, Turn the waist, bring it straight down. Turn the waist, bring it straight up. Turn the waist, up. See it? Fan. Pow choi, saimin, fan. Pow choi, saimin, fan. Pow choi, saimin, fan. Okay? Now, guess what? Other hand. In the Sulahorn set, this is only done on one side, but we want to be able to do things both sides. Okay? So let's start with this idea. We have coming from behind us, palm up. It's like an underarm throw. We used to train this by throwing a bag filled with sand or rice. It's like an underarm throw. So you really start to be able to pull, really use your whole body with the movement rather than throwing with your arm. Okay. Modern plyometrics, they use medicine balls. Medicine balls are awesome for things like slams and pushes. But what you can't do with a medicine ball is things like, backhanded shots like that, which you can do it maybe with cables. But the old sandbag was a really useful thing because you're also working your grip and you can throw it at any angle, forehand or backhand, whereas a medicine ball you can't. It's not really a good way of throwing a backhanded medicine ball shot. There's a few variations, but they're nowhere near as effective. So I'd suggest we'll do another video how to use the sandbag as well. Okay, and that's a lot of fun when you're in a group as well, when there's a few of you, and especially if there's a few of you and you've got several sandbags and you're not sure where it's coming from. That can be really good reflex training as well. But that's another matter. What we're doing now is shoulder mobility. Okay, so we're throwing underarm. You can imagine you're throwing a sandbag. See it? Again, throw. Notice the waist. So I'll put my hand on my waist so you can see. Here, it goes all the way over. So the hand does not come down here. It goes all the way over. See? For this exercise, we'll add another complete circle. So we're really working that. So behind the back, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Looking at it from the front, make sure it's coming vertically up, it's turning, it's going down, turning, it's going up. Now in the actual fighting technique, there is a bend in the elbow, so there's an addition of a whip of the elbow. But what I want to do for the first part, because I think that's the most important, is the shoulder. So we'll add the elbow bend. Otherwise, people tend to be lazy and use the elbow bend in lieu of the shoulder. And it's not. It's the whole thing. And you add a whip crack, just like a baseball pitch. There's a snap at the end, right? But there's still most of the force is generated by the shoulder, and then there's the principle which is called conservation of angular momentum, where you can reduce the size of the rotation to produce an acceleration. We use that a lot in Hapkun, that principle, but there's no point doing that until you have angular momentum to conserve, right? And you can't get angular momentum until you can get the angles. So let's get that first, working shoulder first. Okay, the next stage, and only do this next stage if you've got that other one fairly well. If you're still struggling and you add on the next one, it will go to pot, okay? Because it's a two-handed exercise, right? So if your movement is not exactly vertical and you add in the other hand, it's going to throw you off, you'll lose your balance. So here's what we're going to do for the two-handed variety, okay? If you're going to your left, if I mirror image you, the hands go up, but I want you to feel the connection first of all. In fact, before we do that, we'll just do this exercise just to get that connection. So the connection idea is, like in your Chongfon Pao Choi, that your arms are one unit, rather than going like swimming. Okay. Often when I teach Chongfon Pao Choi, it's like a backstroke, but then there's always someone who says, no, it's not exactly. Yeah, it's not exactly. It's exactly like a Chongfon Pao Choi though, right? So from here, back. Again, my waist is turning because my hands should be going across, not, this is wrong. Turning the waist, turning the waist, turning the waist, turning the waist, turning the waist. Okay, what I hope you'll see is I'm rotating on this axis. There's no swaying. Okay, Tongfeng is like charging, like a charging beast, charging across. And Pao Choi is a throwing upwards punch. So Tongfeng Pao Choi is when we add the footwork and we charge forwards. That's called Tongfeng Pao Choi, or this one, which is the Chongfeng Dik Choi or Lim Wan Choi. Okay, now let's do a two-handed variation of the Sai Min. So if I'm going to your left, my right, the hands come upwards. Make that arm connected. And then turn over and go down. And then turn over to go up. And then turn over to go down. Let's do that. Okay, then we're going to do the same exercise the other way. So it's going to look like this. Up, turn, down. Keep the arms connected, can you see? Keep them connected. All the way through, up, all the way through, down.